Okay, so I figured I would do something else for my album battle series this week, and I wanted to put Taylor Swift's Midnight's the Till Dawn edition versus the Tortured Poets Department, the Anthology edition, and ask you guys which album you thought was better. So here's the track list on both albums just to kind of refresh your memory as to which songs are on which, and then you can kind of make your decision as to which album wins for you. So in my opinion, I think that Midnight's wins this pretty easily, especially when you have Lavender Haze. I really like the way that it starts off the album. Maroon is probably one of my favorite Taylor Swift songs. I just really like the songwriting, the kind of pocket that she gets into. I thought the production was something that was unique for her as well. Anti-Hero, I'm over that song as well. I've said that 1,000 times, but you have some other really good stuff. You're on Your Own Kid, I think, is up there with the very best of her track fives. Question is underrated. Vigilante Shit sounds like a Reputation reject. Bejeweled is great. I love Sweet Nothing. I do. It's such a great moment. Karma is probably my favorite song on the album. And the bonus tracks on here are no slouch. Okay? Paris, that pre-chorus, it hits. It really hits. And Hits Different is another one of Taylor Swift's best songs. So, yeah, I think you get a lot of good records on here. For me, there's a lot of memorable stuff. I've went back to this album so many times. I like the soundscapes on here a lot. Her songwriting, for the most part, is pretty solid. Really good production that is very dynamic to listen to. So I think Minutes is a really good album, and I think that y'all hate on it far too much. Like, I remember it came out and a lot of people hated on it and stuff like that, but this is probably like a top 5 Taylor Swift album for me. I'm sorry, it's a really, really good album, and I think the extra tracks in this case like really strengthen the album and stuff like that. And I only don't like 4 or 5 songs, so I mean, out of 20 songs, I feel like that's pretty good. On Tortured Poets Department, I think that this album was just underwhelming the more in that I have sit and kind of listened to it, and by the time you're seeing this, I will have a new video out on my main YouTube channel, Anastasia25, and I gave you guys my updated opinions on this album. I talked about every single song. I gave my favorite songs, and then I gave you why this album was kind of underwhelming for me, so you can watch that video if you want to really hear my in-depth perspective on it and stuff like that. But yeah, just kind of underwhelming the more I listen to it. Basically, I think that the production is kind of sterile, doesn't really stand out, and just very boring, and the vocal deliveries and stuff like that often kind of like make it worse, especially on a song like Fortnite, for example. Songwriting, I mean, there's some really good stuff on here. I like Peter, that's probably one of my favorite Taylor Swift songs. Like, I really love that song. The Alchemy is definitely a jam as well on this album. I hate it here, minus that one lyric about the racists in the 1830s. So I mean, there's good moments on this album, but it just doesn't really have the replay value for me that I've come to expect for a lot of Taylor Swift albums. It just doesn't really give the same way. It doesn't have the same highlights. Like, I think my top 5 on Midnights is easily outdoing my top 5 on Torture Poets Department. There's good stuff, but I mean, there's levels to it. So I mean, that's kind of my justification for why I think Midnights is better than Tortured Poets, and I feel like y'all hate on Midnights way too much. So let me know what you guys think down below in the comments, and let's kind of continue that conversation.